welcome to the Empowered Finances Conference. It's a pleasure to be here. And a little bit about me. My name is Teddy. I am a money coach. I help people with their personal finances, get on a budget, understand the value of money, and really incorporate all things money into our lives. I'm just going to move this out of the way. So, I want to start off with a question for you all. If I gave you $10,000, what would you do with it? And it's not rhetorical. Like y'all can actually you just shout it out. What would you get? Savings. Smart.
I mean, I couldn't do much with it with this economy.
All right, that very realistic answer. What are you?
Buy a car.
Buy a car. Sweet. So, I got some little pictures up here for y'all. $10,000 can get you, if you're into designer bags, maybe like 3 Louis Vuitton bags. Or for you Chipotle lovers out there, 1,000 burritos. But if you like the guac on there, it'll be about 750 burritos with guac. If you're into cryptocurrency at all, it'll get you about 1/10 of a Bitcoin as it is now. And Disney lovers, any Disney lovers over here? No one? Oh, okay. We got just, all right. So it'll probably fund a 1-week vacation to Disney World, depending on travel. Or if you ever walk into a Walmart, Sam's Club, you see all those big fancy TVs, it'll get you about 10 to 20 of those. But $10,000 can also get you a year's rent if you're sharing a room with someone, maybe $800 a month. It can get you an associate's degree from a community college. It can get you a pretty decent used car, 2015 Camry, and those things run like tanks, y'all. Also, fun fact, little math lesson, if you put $10,000 into your retirement account when you're 25, in 35, 40 years, you'll have about $300,000 in there if you don't do anything to it. Another question for y'all. Who wants to be a millionaire, or like the idea of a millionaire? Yeah? Like when you think about what the lifestyle of a millionaire looks like, what are the first things that come to mind? Big fancy house. All right. Yeah? Now, what if it's not like that? What if being a millionaire looks much different? So, actually, one of the largest studies of millionaires was conducted through Ramsey Solutions, and they were basically surveying who are our millionaires. What are the professions that result in millionaire status or whatever? And so they show the top 5, but for simplicity's sake, I'll show you the top 3. So the first, most common, are our engineers. Any Big Bang Theory fans out here? Number 2 are our accountants. Hello, Kevin Malone. Nice to have you here. And number 3 are teachers. I know, right? It's crazy. Our idea of millionaires is completely skewed by social media, by what we think money looks like. It actually really just looks like a paid off house with 2 cars, maybe like some retirement savings. It's nothing really fancy. Actually, I think 1/10 of Americans are millionaires. And so the reason why I share this with you is that it's actually a really attainable goal that we all can have. So today I'm going to share with you 3 principles when it comes to understanding the value of money. And I'll go over why this matters. Why does this matter? Good money management equals less money stress. Yeah? And less money stress means happier life. Fairly simple. So who am I? My name is Teddy. I am a money coach, and I'm also a social worker. So I have my own practice as a money coach with Lion Lamb Money. That's the business I have. But I'm also a PAL worker with OCOK. So those of you who are currently in foster care or just exited foster care, you might have seen my face. But yeah, I help young adults take control of their money to have a rich life and change this perception of good money management equals a lot of just money, but really is what that money can do for us. I specialize in overcoming financial stress and toxic money habits.
You know, Dollar Tree addiction.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And then, spending detox is the programming I just walk clients through to help change those behaviors, whether it's Target, Amazon, Ulta, thrift stores, all of the above. So, are you going to learn everything you need to know about money today? No, you're not. But what I hope you get from this conference and from this talk is that you get curious about learning all things personal finance. That you take action with the information that you have here and ultimately change your life. Once you get the workbook, you'll see it's actually a really simple worksheet just to take really brief notes, because I really want your attention here, right? Not having to jot down a whole bunch of stuff. But I also want you to think about questions that you may have, because there'll be a little bit of a Q&A at the end. All right? So, the 3 money principles. There'll be a fill in the blank. I know we all love our fill in the blanks. The first one I want to cover is that money is earned. Has anyone heard the term time is money? Like, what does that mean, right? If you're comfortable sharing how much you get paid, what are some of those ranges?
$9.25 an hour.
$9.25. My first job was about $9.50. 12. Awesome. So, we'll just do a simple math lesson. I know we all came here looking forward to a math lesson on a Saturday.
Yes, indeed.
So, if you're making $10 an hour, how much time does it cost you to buy $160 AirPods? 16 hours of work for those earbuds. That's 2 whole shifts, y'all. That's a lot of work for some earbuds. What about a $20 lunch? 2 hours. Are those 2 hours of work really worth the 20 extra minutes of enjoyment that you get? And then $60 shoes, 6 hours, right? So why don't I share this with you for this takeaway to carry yourself in your spending decisions as you go about life, whether you're buying a car, buying food, buying a phone, that you want to think about your purchases and how much time it costs you to get that. I look at a bag of chips and it's like, $4, $5. I'm like, would I really work 15 minutes, 30 minutes for this bag of chips? Or would I rather get something else, right? So think about how much time your purchases cost you. So, principle number 1, money is earned. Principle number 2, money needs to be managed. So one of the biggest money traps I see in my business and just all around is this. We're spending more money than we make. Has anyone heard of debt? Like, is debt something that's familiar to y'all? So what is debt? This looks like credit cards, buy now, pay later. Those 4 interest-free payments on a firm? That's debt. Installment plans. Some of you are probably paying off your phone still after 20 months of having it. And car loans, car payments, car notes, whatever you want to call them. These are all types of debt. Now, not all debt is necessarily innately bad, but the Bible says that borrower is slave to the lender. And the Bible doesn't actually condemn debt as sin or anything like that, but it more so focuses on its risk. It puts you in a position where it could compromise your home, it can compromise your sanity. And so one of the key principles with debt is to understand that it's kind of like a candle. If you're watching it, if it's in a controlled space, or just money in general, money management, that it's fine. It's providing warmth, providing all that you need. But it can oftentimes catch everything on fire and your whole life just becomes a mess. So this all really highlights the purpose with money, that we need to pay attention. Money fuels all the things that we do, how we live, what we can use it on. But if we're spending more than we make and we're in a negative with our money, then people start chasing us for our money. The government, IRS, will get us, debt collectors, or maybe a disgruntled family member who you owe money to, right? So if you don't control your money will control you. So how do you take control of your money? Well, we're going to talk about it later. I forgot who's presenting on budgeting. But really, all budgeting it's a spending plan. It's just, where's my next dollar going? How much is coming in? How much is going out? It's nothing really fancy. It's just kind of like, if you're wanting to lose weight, you have to pay attention to what you're eating. Or if you're wanting to start a business, you have to pay attention to like all the details of growing that business, reaching the people, and all that stuff. Having a plan is what it's about. So when you know what you will spend on, you will waste less money and save more money, which means more money for the things that actually matter in your life. Your relationships, your education. If you value having a nice car, then you can put it towards a nice car. So the second money principle, money needs to be managed. Now, the third and last money principle that I will cover is that money is a tool. So I want to share a little story. I was having a conversation with a friend the other day. We were talking about like our first jobs that we got at 16 or 18. And for me, it was like a amusement attraction. It was like $9, $10 an hour. For my friend, very similar. She was in her own space, got her job. I forgot exactly what she was doing. But if any of you got your first paycheck, it's like, oh my goodness, this is so much money. And so what did she do with that money? Instead of putting it towards her rent or saving it, she bought a fancy coat. The problem with that is rent comes due, utilities come due, and she couldn't afford it because she wanted that coat. She wanted the nice things. She wasn't planning to use that money as a tool, but more so as a prize, as a gift to herself. So the lesson here, understanding that money is a tool, you want to understand the priorities that we have with money. We need to first cover our needs, our housing, our food, our utilities, our driving, our mental health, our physical health. And then we want to pay ourselves first. Setting aside, even if it's 5%, 10%, just for the future, so you can plan for whatever is to come, an expense or an emergency. And then we plan for those wants. Now, one of the things I really highlight in all things personal finance is that you don't have to deprive yourself of enjoyment in life to be well with money. You can spend money on the things that add value to your life, things that you enjoy, as long as you're considering your well-being in the future and now. So the takeaway, using money as a tool to improve your life. So what does that look like? Growing your income, maybe getting a degree or studying a trade or starting a business. Growing yourself through personal development, whether it's books, counseling, or just growing your savings, planning for the future. Money is used for a lot of things, but we want to make sure that we're using it for, I'm going to use my handy dandy lighter, the light, what do you call this? Laser pointer, yeah. We want to use it for these things, not so much just to have fun, get nice things, or impress other people. So, third money principle, money is a tool that we use to improve our life. And so if we're spending on the things that add value to us, saving on the things that don't, like an impulse purchase online or, impromptu lunch, even though we packed one, if we're saving it for the things that matter to us, then that's where we get the value of money. So to recap, we talked a little bit about the value of money, what it can do for us, how we should view money as a tool to improve our life. And it's important because better money management, less financial stress, happier life, right? And we walked through the 3 money principles. Money is earned, money needs to be managed, and money is a tool. And I wanted to do a little wrap-up lesson. I hope this is okay to do, but a little demonstration that I had with some money. Now, if I was like rich, I would probably have a $100 bill for y'all, but it's just a 20. That's all right. So I have this $20 bill. I have a $20 bill. How much is this $20 bill worth? It's $20, right? Now, if I fold it 4 times, 8 times, how much is a dollar bill worth now? Still $20, right? Now, what if I crumple the $20 bill and I step on it?
It's still $20.
Right. It's still $20. And so what's the takeaway lesson with this? It's not necessarily a personal finance lesson, but it's a lesson that really impacted me growing up, is that very much like this, we all have innate value. The things that we can do in this world, things that we do for each other, and just who we are as people. And that no matter what you're going through or what you've been through, that your value doesn't change based on your history or your circumstances. Bruised, beaten, life flips upside down, that you're still you, you're growing, and you know that no matter what you're facing in life, you're still worth it. That's why you're at this conference. You're here investing in yourself, in your understanding, to grow your life and grow your purpose. So I'm gonna do another little demonstration. I'll come down here. Who wants this $20 bill? All right, we got only 3 people want this $20 bill. 4? Oh, okay. I don't think any of you want it. I know you're raising your hands, but how badly would you want this $20 bill? All right.
I will give you Bowser.
You'll give me Bowser.
No, I'm kidding.
Awesome. Everyone give a round of a hand. You actually beat me to the lesson. I was gonna draw that out probably a couple more minutes, but yeah, you got to keep it. It wasn't a trick. And here's the lesson. Here's a lesson I want to show y'all with that. In life, we can want a lot of things. We can want to start the business. We can want a nice life. We can want a nice family. But oftentimes, wanting is not enough. In fact, in order to get what you want in life, you need to take uncomfortable action. Right? McKenna got out of her seat. She was actually a little frustrated with me that I wasn't walking the money over to her, but she got up out of her seat and took it from my hand. It was an offer available, but she was bold enough to take that action. That's what it looks like in all aspects of our life. Whether it is applying for a new job, moving cities, or like for me, it was to start this business. I always wanted to start a business ever since I was a kid. But it wasn't until I sent that first DM, I posted that first social media post, that it actually got the ball going. And now 2 years later, I get to talk on stages like this, right? And then I have some extra resources here for you if you're interested. There are a couple things. There's a budgeting template, online course. It's free. You just got to create an account. But this Overspending Insight course is a course that I made initially just to sell and whatever, about a year ago or so. But I realized that like this information is not something I need to gatekeep, right? So really it's to get behind our spending habits, where they come from and how to address them in a way that really impacts our wallet. And so there are a few other resources in here. I have some like YouTube videos and things like that if you want to check it out. There is a budgeting workshop on the link. But that's all I got for you today. Hopefully you learned something about personal finance. Honestly, when I hear talks like this, go to conferences like this, I probably remember 10%, 20% of the information. But I typically remember 100% of how I felt during that. And I hope I moved you to take that uncomfortable action in your life, in your personal finances, in your career growth.
What I learned is that next time someone holds out a dollar bill to me, I take it.
Exactly. That is exactly the lesson. Yeah, so really I don't know if we have time, but keep it open to some Q&A if y'all have any questions that you wrote down.
What do you think I should be saving up for as well?
What I think is really interesting is that you're having the conversation at 16, at 17 about like what to save for.
I'm 16,
right?
you got it right.
16. And so actually one of the biggest lessons that I learned, going through my 20s is that life changes really fast, really quick. And that having a good chunk of cash in your savings gives you options to do things like get a car to get you places. And, if you want to move, or you want to get something nice. All in all, it really just depends on like what your goals are, right? If you're getting your driver's license, that car is the next step. I actually kind of discourage home buying as like a goal for young adults, just because life changes a lot. Like I'm 25 and I feel like I've lived like 4 generations already. Like I bought the houses, I bought the cars, and like my life doesn't look like what I thought it was, that I thought it would look like. I thought I'd be a nurse, I would have this in grad school for a nurse anesthesia and make $300,000, but that is clearly not what I'm doing, right? And so like life changes so fast, and just having the savings in your account to sit there to give you options when those options open up is really the best thing I can recommend. And if you can live conservatively, if you're able to save 50 to 80% of your income, that's an insane amount. All the adults in here are jealous by hearing that number, right? So I mean, as you're going into 20, 22, you're going through college and all that stuff, there's no rush to spend it by any means. So playing it conservative and keeping it in a savings account for whenever you need a new car, a laptop, or whatever, it's probably like what I would tell myself if I go back in time 7-8 years.
So I have a few questions, but would you say that it is what is like cheaper, like renting an apartment or owning a house?
So the age-old question, should I rent or should I buy? So in my very limited adult life experience, one thing I learned about home ownership is that it's a lot more expensive than people realize. That a lot of people compare rent as like, oh, I can get this apartment for $1,400, or I can get this house with a $1,400 mortgage. I'd rather get the house. But the thing with that is that rent is like the cap, like the most you'll pay. If something breaks, the fridge goes out, the AC goes out, the landlord deals with that. But if you have a house, you have $1,400, and then you got to pay for all those repairs by yourself. And you got to pay taxes and insurance. And so rent goes up every year, but also your mortgage goes up every year too, because insurance to protect the home, and then taxes, and taxes are pretty decent for local property taxes. So the real rule of thumb I give young adults when it comes to renting versus buying is like, am I going to be in this place for 5 or 10 years? And saying that at 20 is really hard, because I thought I was. When we bought our first house, I was like, this is our forever home. I'm going to grow up here. I'm going to raise kids. I'm going to be a grandparent here, all the things. And about a year later, we sold it. So we moved an hour away to a much different area. So life, like I said, life changes really fast. And by renting, it gives you the flexibility to move, because selling a house is a very expensive transaction. Buying a house is there are a lot of costs that come with selling a house.
Another one. So let's say you do, you buy the house, pay the mortgage, insurance and all that. When you go to sell the house, would you say the value is less of it?
So on average, the housing market goes up 3 to 5% on a normal market. The thing is, to sell a house, you're paying the realtor 3% to sell it. You're paying the buyer's realtor another 3%. You're paying sometimes closing costs, or renovating the house or whatever. So expecting, 5, 6, 8, 10% on top of that's the value of the home that you have. And that is competing with how quick the house is growing. So the general rule of thumb being 3 to 5 years is when you could sell a house to break even, meaning you don't lose money on the house. So if you sell it within a year, you're usually losing money. I just got super lucky buying it during COVID, and then our house value went way up and we came out positive, but I acknowledge that is not normal at all. So yeah, if you're looking to buy a house or a small house, or even buying a condo, if you're I can see myself being here for 5 years, then it's a safe bet to buy. But just know that you'll probably spend way more in repairs than you think. I had to spend $300 to fix a water spigot outside. like $300? No, I'd rather have spent that $300 on like 30 Chipotle burritos, right?
Or groceries.
Yeah. I think we're getting close on time, so we'll take one more. Question.
What company or bank would you recommend to open a high yield savings account?
Yeah, so high yield savings account, for those of you who don't know, is a type of savings account that gets you a lot more than your typical traditional accounts. So say like Wells Fargo, Bank of America, they may have a regular savings account that gets you like 0.0105%, like really nothing. It's not any money. And so with high yield savings account, the reason why they're able to give you more interest on your money is because they have a lot less overhead costs. So there are a lot of online banks that offer high yield savings accounts. If you go online and just look up best high yield savings account, usually NerdWallet is a website that has some recommendations, but typically the first ones are like Ally, Marcus Bank. None of these are endorsed. I wish they would pay me to say this stuff, but like Capital One, things like that. Kind of an FYI for those in foster care, we have what's called a financial pilot program, and it's a teen bank account, like a bank account for our teens where you don't have to get a co-signer. You don't have to get an adult to sign with you. And so part of that, there's not a high yield savings option with that necessarily, but if you open a checking account, say you're 18 and you open a checking account with them, they actually have a high yield checking account, which is actually very rare. And I think I'm getting like 6% on it, which is a lot. 6% on a checking account is pretty insane. Yeah, but most high yield savings at the time of this recording for those watching the video, is probably about 3%, 4% is what you can expect from a high yield savings account. If you get anything more than that, then great. But the research is actually fairly easy to do if you just look up on NerdWallet. But my time's up. I appreciate y'all. And yeah, hope y'all enjoy the rest of the conference.
So you made it to the end of the video, which means you take your personal finance journey seriously. So just for you, go ahead and click over here for another video, or if you don't have time, subscribe. But I'll see you in the next one.